The city that had been plagued with crime and violence was safe and peaceful. However, evil had once again cast its shadow over the city, and there's only one who can save us.
Diglett!
Now, to be honest, I never really played Streets of Rage when I was a kid. Young Mischief was more into role-playing games, shooters, and platformers. Looking up the wiki, Streets of Rage 2 was acclaimed as one of the best side-scrolling beat-em-ups at the time, but I don't have the advantage of looking through those rose-colored glasses. I'm looking at it in the 21st century with an opinion that's been warped by years of quality gaming. So what I can say is that while this may have been a titan of its time, by today's standards, it's just not bad. But let's do a quick rundown for anyone who's deeply invested in the story of this game where you brain ninjas with a pipe. In the first game, a man named Mr. X runs a crime syndicate that takes over the city. He buys the corrupt police force and local government officials, which allows his organization to run unchecked. Axel Stone, Adam Hunter, and Blaze Fielding, besides having three of the most 90s action star names ever, are three police officers who grow sick of working with a bunch of dirty cops in a city run by a crime lord that they quit the force and decide to tear down the whole system. Mostly by punching everyone they find wandering the street, and by the end they beat Mr. X. And apparently they assume they beat him to death because everyone is shocked when he comes back in the sequel. 1 year later, the crime syndicate is gone. The city is safe, people have moved back in, world peace reigns, the sun is always shining, dogs and cats getting along. You get the idea. Adam is a cop again, Axel is now a bodyguard, and Blaze is a dance instructor, which is the most obvious career trajectory after cop and vigilante. When tragedy strikes, Adam's brother Eddie Skate Hunter finds his brother has been taken by Mr. X. And in what I assume is a speedrun record in a criminal organization taking over a city. Criminals have swarmed the city, and apparently every cop was immediately bought off, fired, or transferred out. And what follows is exactly what happened in the first game. Axel and Blaze, along with Axel's friend Max and Skate, punch, kick, and knife their way through a city of bad guys to kill Mr. X all over again and rescue their buddy. And that brings us to gameplay. You jump, punch, and move right until everything on the screen has stopped breathing. Each character has their own special move. Ditto spins and knocks down everyone around them at the cost of some health. You can also grab people for punches to the head or grab them from behind to powderize their skull against the pavement. Oh, and you get this slide tackle, and I spam the crap out of that move. It hits from range, and it hits more than one enemy multiple times. And in a game where both you and the enemy can abuse the stun lock, this move almost felt like cheating. You'll also come across pipes and swords, the best weapons in the game since they actually provide range and can hit more than one enemy. A knife that is marginally useful, but you need to get close enough to the enemies for them to hit you to use it. And this thing. I don't know what this thing is, but I only made the mistake of using it once. And you use your colorful and varied instruments of death to punch, stab, and pipe your way through 8 levels of color swap goons. Speaking of the enemies in this game, Mr. X has the weirdest collection of peons I've ever seen. From ninjas to wrestlers to robots to Vega mixed with Blanca from Street Fighter. But the rank and file fist fodder will be present in every level. Though, to add a little bit of flavor, the game recycles its bosses. Most of the bosses you fight in this game end up just being regular enemies in later levels, and they're just as annoying to deal with every single time. The game also covers a wide variety of levels. You fight on streets, obviously, but also boats, bridges, elevators, a baseball field, and for some reason a xenomorph ship? Birthing pods and all, and an extremely out-of-place fight against some kind of alien demon head. But there's little thought to the actual levels in this game. You fight boxers on a beach, ninjas in a factory, and bikers on a boat. But complete nonsense aside, I will say I had a lot of fun with this game. Till I got to the last level. See, video games originally lived in arcades, and they were designed to drain as many quarters out of Little Mischief's piggy bank as possible. So they had lives, and continues, and game overs, and console games took a long time to shake off these shackles. Eventually, game developers figured out it was better if people were actually able to finish games, and this little feature really bit me in the butt when I was on the last level, ran out of lives, ran out of continues, and had to restart the game from the beginning. But with a more conservative playstyle, I was able to get through it and make it all the way to the end. And I can see the appeal of having one more barrier you have to hurdle to succeed. It felt pretty good getting past the part of the game that ended my run earlier. But it's also frustrating, and you run the risk of a player deciding it's just not worth the time or effort to start all over, especially in a game like this with very repetitive gameplay. Honestly, if I wasn't making a video on this, I don't know if I would have cared enough to see it through to the end. And when I got to the end, the game crashed. So I started over. I beat up the ninjas and the robots and the fat guy with a hat. I'm not actually sure what this guy is supposed to be. And I beat Mr. X again. And the game crashed again. And I wasn't about to play through this game a third time, but for anyone who really desperately needs to know how this game ends, I looked it up on YouTube. Our heroes look over the defeated body of their enemy, lock him in some kind of dungeon, I guess, reunite with their families, pose heroically with their completely realistic bodies, then they all wave at a helicopter. I'm not really sure what this one is, to be honest. If you like side-scrolling beat-em-ups, Streets of Rage 2 is a solid one. Watching Diglett jump on some guy's face and headbutt him to death never gets old, and watching Diglett shove an entire chicken he found in the street down his gullet is kinda cute. I also had a lot of fun seeing a Pokemon just pick up a knife and stab a guy, which is something I've always thought is missing from more Pokemon games, though it has its issues. Repetitive gameplay, a couple of really annoying enemies, and I lost count of the amount of time I spent waiting for an enemy to wander his way back on screen after I kicked them off stage left. But all things considered, this game is pretty fun and very, very dumb.